My name is Rick Torbett. Regardless of where you are in the game, whether you're a youngster on the playground, a high school player trying to make the team, or a professional player, becoming a better ball handler will help you beat out your competition and make you more valuable to your team. And it doesn't matter what position you play or what your role is on your team. Improving your dribbling will advance your entire offensive game. You'll have more options every time you touch the ball. On the other hand, if you're a poor ball handler, you'll be limited offensively. And poor dribbling can hurt your team and decrease your playing time. Now, our goal at Better Basketball is to help the player who really wants to take his game to the next level. So we're not going to waste time on this video with anything other than technical information that will help you meet your basketball goals. Let's start out by looking at proper dribbling technique. The fingers and finger pads contact and control the ball. Your fingers should be spread apart, but not so much that you're uncomfortable. On each downstroke, extend your arm, wrist, and fingers and let the ball slide out of your hand. When the ball comes back to you, ride the ball up until your fingers and finger pads regain control. Your hand should look like a suction cup when it catches each dribble. Now, one of the secrets for developing great handles is for the ball to be in your hand more than it's out of your hand. Why? Because the ball is stolen or control is lost when the ball is out of your hand. When the ball is in your hand, you have control. It's that simple. Let's take a look at this.
Watch this clip of a player dribbling. Now let's rewind it and play his second dribble back at 10% of normal speed. Slowed down, we see that the ball stays in his hand for over 5.6 seconds, and it's out of his hand for just 2.6 seconds. This means the ball was in his hand for more than twice as long as it was out of his hand, giving him great control of the basketball. By the way, in real time, the ball was in his hand for 0.56 seconds, and out of his hand for just 0.26 seconds.
Now, the video is divided into 7 chapters. The first chapter explains the basic dribbling situations that occur in games. The second chapter has over 100 drills to help improve your ball control and hand speed. The third and fourth chapters break down straight line moves and change of direction moves respectively. The fifth chapter looks at some advanced moves. The sixth chapter covers 9 training methods you can use to improve your handles. And the seventh and final chapter is filled with hints that will help you in games. So, let's get started with Better Basketball's better ball handling. When you're dribbling in the game, there are only 3 possible ways a defender can play you. First, he can be in great position but too far away from you to touch the ball. Second, he can be in perfect position right on you, ready to touch the ball and deflect it or steal it. And third, he can be completely out of position. Now, depending on which of these 3 positions your defender's in, you're going to change both your stance and the way you dribble. The first situation we're going to look at is when the defender's in front of you, but he's too far away from you to steal the ball. Your knees should be bent, your bump out, and your back straight. By being bent over like this, you're in a position similar to a sprinter on the starting blocks. If you see an opening or your defender lunges, you'll be ready to explode. Now, your feet and shoulders are square to the defender. Your dribble should come up to your thigh. Some coaches call this a controlled dribble. And the key thing to remember is that you bring the ball into a controlled dribble just before you make most moves. The next situation we're going to examine is when the defender's in good position and is close enough to you to steal the ball. Some coaches call this a power dribble. The key is to protect the ball by putting your body between the defender and the ball. Get low and wide so that the defender can't reach the ball and tip it away. And also get low and wide for balance in case the defender pushes you. Get your forearm up and use it as an arm bar to protect the ball. You'll look right over your arm bar to see the floor. Your dribble will be very low and it will bounce at or behind your rear foot far away from the defender. You'll move in a step slide and you must be able to move forwards and backwards in this situation. The final situation you're going to encounter in games is when the defender is out of position and you're wide open to advance the ball down the court. You're running at full speed, which is why some coaches call this a speed dribble. You're almost throwing the ball out in front and then sprinting to go get it. The key is to let your wrist come back to 90 degrees and then push the ball way out in front of you with each dribble. And since there's no one in position to take the ball from you, you can let the ball come all the way up to your chest. The three basic dribbling positions are the building blocks of ball handling. You must master them before you start working on other things. In addition, you must master changing from one type of dribble to another, changing from one hand to the other, and changing directions in each of the three positions. If you can't do these things, you're going to be limited in your ability to handle the ball, and you may turn the ball over. But if you can do these things, you've laid the foundation to becoming a great ball handler.
Watch as the player trains for the three basic dribbling situations that occur in games. It can be relatively easy to master each dribble by itself, but it's much harder to quickly and effectively change from one type of dribble to another, which is how dribbling situations appear in games.
There are only 5 reasons to dribble when you're in a game. Some players put the ball on the floor too much and dribble themselves into trouble. So let's take a look at the only 5 reasons to dribble in a game. The first reason to dribble is to advance the ball up the court. The second reason to put the ball on the floor is to create a shot for yourself. The third reason to dribble is to create a shot for a teammate. The fourth reason to put the ball on the floor is to improve a passing lane or a passing angle. And the final reason to dribble is to get out of trouble. This chapter has 115 drills that will improve your ball control and hand speed. These drills will not, by themselves, make you a great dribbler. What they will do is improve your coordination, hand quickness, strength, and your ability to control the ball. Now, don't try to do all 115 drills every day. Instead, pick a few drills or maybe a whole section and work on those drills for 10 or 15 minutes. If you can master all 115 drills, you're going to have awesome handles and a great feel for dribbling the basketball. Once you've mastered the 3 basic dribbling positions from Chapter 1, and you've built up some ball control and hand speed from the drills in Chapter 2, you're ready to start putting moves on defenders. Now, there are literally dozens of ways you can get by a defender, but there are 7 moves that are building blocks for all possible moves. We've divided these 7 into 2 groups: straight line moves, which is Chapter 3, and change of direction moves, which is Chapter 4. Straight line moves should be used when your defender is in poor position and you just need a little edge to get completely by him. This usually happens in the open court when you're at a high speed and he's backpedaling or completely stopped. When you use a straight line move, you keep the ball in the same hand, and the key is to have an explosive and long first step as you get by the defender. The most basic straight line move is the hesitation. Some people call it a change of pace. To use a hesitation move, simply back up your shoulders, slow down just a bit, and then go back to full speed. The key to making the hesitation move successful is to get the defender to think you're not going to attack. You may even want to look back as if you're going to wait on a teammate. But as soon as the defense relaxes, put your jets back on and go by him. The best time to use a hesitation move is when the defender is running with you and you need him to slow down just a bit in order to fly past him. The next straight line move is the in and out. To execute it, fake with your feet, head, and eyes in the opposite direction from where you want to go. Make the defender think you're about to cross over and then explode by him in your original direction. Now, the best time to use the in and out is when you've got some speed built up and your defender doesn't. If you can get him to lean just a little bit, you'll have the angle to go around him. And because you're not moving the ball, you can do the in and out in basically any speed. The final straight line move is the fake crossover. It's the exact same move as the in and out, except you fake with both your body and the ball to make the defender think you're going to cross over. To really sell this ball and foot fake, make sure the ball and your foot mirror each other. In other words, they should fake at the same time. Now, it's best to be in a controlled dribble when you use the fake crossover, or you may turn the ball over. If you use the move in a slowed down half-court situation, make sure there's enough space between you and the defender that he won't deflect the ball.
Watch as the fake crossover is perfectly executed in a half-court situation. But in this clip, the player uses the move too close to the defender, and the result is a turnover. Now compare the two. Notice how proper spacing is essential to executing a fake crossover and most other moves.
The key to using a change of direction move is to be in a controlled dribble before you execute the move. When players are in a speed dribble and try to change directions, turnovers often occur. Now, the following 4 moves are listed in order from the most space that the defense gives you to the least amount of space that the defense gives you. The first and simplest change of direction move is the crossover. To set up the crossover, step in the opposite direction from where you want to go. This will get the defender leaning the wrong way. Now, cup the ball in your hand and make sure you cross over right next to your thigh. If the ball is too far out in front of you, the defender may get a hand on it. To make the crossover effective, push hard off your outside foot in order to really explode the other way. And most importantly, the best time to use the crossover is when the defender is more than an arm's length away from you, so he won't be able to deflect the ball. The next move we're going to examine is the between the legs dribble. Unlike the standard crossover, the defense is too close to you to cross over without protection. So you're going to put the ball between your legs with your lead leg to help protect the ball as you change directions. As soon as the ball goes through your legs, whip around your trailing leg and trailing arm to restore all your protection. Again, the best time to use the between the legs dribble is when the defender is about an arm's length away from you. Executed properly, it's a quick and safe way to change directions. The third change of direction move is the spin. The spin is the most dangerous of the 7 moves because you turn your back to the defense and your teammates. But the advantage to the spin is that you keep your entire body between your defender and the ball throughout the entire move. Now, to execute a spin move, pivot on your lead foot, cup the ball, and pull it with you as you spin. Snap your head and body around so that you spend as little time as possible with your back to the defense. Now, make sure when you spin, your lead foot gets outside the defender, or you'll charge right into him. And be sure the ball lands in a spot that allows you to keep your body between the ball and your defender. You can use a spin when the defense is body to body with you. Place an arm bar on the defender and use it to make sure that he doesn't reach in and deflect the ball as you begin your spin. The final change of direction move is the behind the back dribble. Now, there are basically 2 versions of this move. If you're going at a high speed and you need to make a slight change of direction, use the very quick 1-2 version where your feet don't hit the ground at the same time. But if you're advancing the ball up the court and the defender completely cuts you off, come to a 2-foot jump stop and cross the ball behind your back to change directions. In order to execute a behind-the-back dribble, get the ball back, cup it, and push it behind you to the other hand, slapping yourself in the bump with your follow-through. The best time to use the behind-the-back dribble is when the defender is body-to-body with you, leaving you no space to cross over or go between the legs. It's quicker than a spin, and you don't need to turn your back on the defense. Once you've mastered the 7 moves from the last 2 chapters, you're ready to move on to combination dribbles. They come in 2 categories. Let's say you put a move on a defender and he just plays good defense and cuts you off. You'll need a second move to counter his good defense and beat him anyway. Now, there are an unlimited number of counters, but the counter is an instant reaction to something that the defense has dictated to you. So the best way to practice counters is simply to drill combinations of dribbles, one after another. We'll demonstrate that a couple of times in the next chapter on training. In a game, when you attack a defender, you may use one move to set up another. The purpose is to get the defender to react to the first move. So, make it a little slow, a little obvious. But when he reacts to that first move, the setup, you beat him with the second move in the direction that you wanted in the first place. The first advanced move we're going to look at is the stutter step. The stutter is very simple. Machine gun your feet and shake your shoulders as well. Now the stutter step alone won't beat your opponent. What it will do is give you an advantage over the defender. Why? Because good defenders are always looking for little hints in your body language to indicate which direction you're going to go. When you're pounding your feet and shaking your shoulders, the defender can't get a read on your direction. So he basically freezes. Once he freezes, use a second move, a crossover for example, to get by him. The next setup we're going to look at is the half spin and lean in. Let's say you're in the back court and you have to get the ball up the court against a super quick defender who's right on you. Against this type of defender, any type of spin or long dribble could be really dangerous. So you want to do something quick and simple to get an advantage. Here's how it works. Start to spin and let him think you're going to spin. Then pull back in your original direction. Your fake spin will get him to move in the spin's direction, opening up some space in the direction you're wanting to go. Imagine you're dribbling down court and you see a trap is about to occur. What do? If you keep dribbling, you'll get trapped and you may turn the ball over. And you certainly don't want to pick up your dribble. Your best bet is the pull-back crossover. Here's how it works. As soon as you see the trap coming, go into a power dribble and reverse out of the trap. Then use any of the change of direction moves to get away from the trap. It's a combination of reverse power dribble and change of direction moves. One of the most entertaining moves is the cross and recross. Sometimes it's called a double crossover. This setup is best when you've already put a crossover on a defender and he's probably expecting another one. Simply make an obvious crossover well in front of him and let him jump to stop this initial move. Then immediately cross back over and you will have the advantage. Once you've perfected the cross and recross, try the advanced version of that move, the one-handed double crossover. It works in the same way except you're only going to use one hand. Let your other hand really sell the setup move by faking way outside. The defender should jump that way, changing his stance, especially when he sees the ball going that direction. Now, when you bring the ball back to your initial direction, he'll be out of position. This move is similar to the cross and recross, except the defender may be closer to you, maybe at arm's length. Go between the legs, faking with both the ball, your shoulders, and your head to get him to lean in one direction. When he does, come back through your legs and explode by him. Advanced ball handlers may cross between their legs several times, baiting the defender to move. When he does, you explode in the other direction. In this chapter, I'm going to give you 9 training methods you can use to improve your ball handling. Too many players work on their dribbling by lackadaisically bouncing a ball around. To really improve your ball handling, you need to train at game speed and imitate game situations. A fun and an effective way to improve all aspects of your ball handling is to dribble the lines. It's pretty simple. Start off by dribbling along a line. Use a power, control, or speed dribble. Then when you encounter an intersecting line, pretend it's a defender and use one of your moves. If you do change lines, use a change of direction move. But if you stay on the same line, use a straight line move. And of course, this is also a great time to work on some of the advanced moves we discussed in the last chapter. If you're at an outdoor park or on a driveway, you can dribble the lines using the cracks on the ground. Just make sure not to let this training method get you in a habit of looking down. Keep your head up to see the whole court and see the lines with your peripheral vision. If you want to work on your moves and you don't have a lot of space, hyper moves may be your best bet. In your limited amount of space, use every move in your repertoire and do them one after another. Stretch yourself by adding new moves and working as fast as you can. You don't do this drill at half speed. Go for a predetermined amount of time and then take a short rest before your next set. If you don't have a lot of space to work with, use a technique I call one hard move. Take 1 or 2 dribbles, put a move on an invisible defender, and then finish off with another couple of dribbles. Go back and forth, always putting a move on the invisible defender in the middle of your area. When you change directions, get creative with spins, behind-the-back dribbles, or a jump stop and a pivot. One hard move, like most of these training methods, is also a great way to get in conditioning. Start with 10 reps per move per day, then add reps to build your conditioning while building skills at the same time. You're certainly going to improve your ball handling by making moves against an imaginary defender. But if you set up a chair, cone, or any other object, the move will become more realistic. You'll get a feel for the space that you need to begin and execute the move against a real opponent. Let's take a look at 3 ways you can train against a static opponent. If you're limited in space, then just use one opponent. Approach it, put your move on it, and finish with a layup or your jump shot. Now, don't waste the return trip. Attack the chair with your weak hand like you're attacking a full court press. Your weak hand always needs the extra work. Make sure you work down the middle, the wing, and the baseline. You want to be familiar with all angles of approach. If you can train on a full court, set up your objects at varying distances so that you have to change speeds and therefore change between the power, control, and speed dribbles. Mix your straight line moves with your change of direction moves. If you have a lot of chairs or cones, set them up randomly. You'll get a sense of why you need to put combinations of dribbles and moves back to back. This is how it occurs in a game, randomly, instinctively, and instantaneously. Have you ever heard your coach say, don't just work on beating one defender, beat 2, because good teams will always have a help defender. Well, multiple chairs means you're beating multiple defenders. But let's extend this idea of overtraining by using 2 balls as you attack the chairs. Let one ball go when you're ready to shoot. But don't waste 2 balls with just one shot. Pick up the other ball and attack with it as well. To play rooster, mark off a small inbounds area and give each player a ball. The goal is simply to keep your dribble alive while trying to knock away your opponent's ball. Rooster will help 2 important aspects of your dribbling. First, because you're constantly protecting the ball while your opponent is body to body with you, you're going to improve your power dribble. And second, you have to focus on your opponent and his ball when you play rooster, so dribbling will become second nature to you. You can also play an advanced version of rooster by putting an extra t-shirt in the back of your shorts with the end hanging out about a foot. You win the game by either pulling out the opponent's t-shirt or by knocking away his ball. Unlike in the simpler version of rooster, you can't turn your back on your opponent or he'll take your shirt. So to keep from having your ball knocked away, you either have to use constant moves to keep your defender off balance or protect the ball with your forearms or legs. Train with a partner to improve your dribbling, conditioning, and defense by playing full court one-on-one. Start on the baseline and try to beat your partner up the floor. Here's where it differs from regular one-on-one. Once you start to beat him and get by him, go to a power dribble and let him catch up. As soon as he recovers, try to beat him again. If he steals or deflects the ball, you get it back and resume advancing the ball from that point. In this manner, you get a lot of training out of just one trip down the floor. Once you've reached the baseline, power dribble back and look for a chance to attack. Your partner will know that when you begin to back up, the live game of one-on-one has begun. When there's a score or a rebound, it's time for you and your partner to switch roles and head back down the court. When you encounter a trap, rather than trying to beat both defenders, pick one defender and beat him. Now, which defender should you beat? Well, you can pick the one that lunges at you and gets into a bad position, or you can pick the slower one, or you can pick the one that's trying to defend the largest open area. But don't beat two. Choose one defender and focus on beating him. It's never a good idea to try to split a trap. It's better to attack just one defender, but there are times when your momentum won't allow you to stop and power back, or you just cross the half line and backing up would be a violation. What do? Well, consider going between your legs from behind. By doing this, both of your legs will protect the ball as you split the defenders. When some defenders get beat, they wrap around you and deflect the ball. In fact, some players intentionally let themselves get beat, and they use that wrap around to steal the ball. To avoid this, simply cross over as soon as you beat a defender. His wraparound will result in a foul, not a steal. When you get the ball, you should pivot and square your body to the goal so that you can read the floor and decide exactly what you want to do. Shoot, pass, or dribble. But many players catch the ball and they use their dribble to square themselves to the goal. That's wasting your dribble. In fact, in the time it takes you to bounce the ball just one time, you may miss an open teammate or a chance at an open shot. Don't overuse any fancy dribble. Don't let the defender see the moves in your arsenal until you're using them to beat him. Too many players use fancy moves when all that's needed is a simple control, power, or speed dribble. I've never heard a coach complain about a player who uses a safe dribble to get the job done. Save your best moves for when you need them. We mentioned in Chapter 4 how risky the spin move is. You're turning your back on the whole court and your defender. In fact, there are some defenders who are so quick that they force you to spin and then pick your pocket. The safety spin emphasizes changing hands and direction safely first and getting past your opponent second. Use a power dribble stance to protect the ball. Keep the defender on your bump while you quickly change hands with a low dribble. At the same time, snap your head to the other side and reestablish your power stance for protection. Whenever you bring the ball across the half-court line, try to avoid the outer thirds. That's where most traps occur. Enter the half-court in the middle third. You can go to either side, you have more options, you'll avoid traps. Let's say you've got to bring the ball up the court against a quick, aggressive defender. Well, rather than trying to execute move after move after move and increasing your chances of turning the ball over, a simple but effective way to get the ball up the court is to go weak, then strong. Start out by going to your weak hand with just one or two dribbles. The quick defender will immediately cut you off, but as soon as he does, make just one good change of direction move and you'll have the ball in your strong hand with a huge chunk of open court that you can use to speed by him. Whenever you beat a defender, regardless of the move you used, you don't want him to be able to sprint back and recover. So once you've got a half step on your man, start leaning in on him and cut him off so he can't recover. You know, it's electrifying to watch a great ball handler, someone who dribbles the ball as if it's an extension of their own hand. And it's even more exciting if you are that player, with the crowd anticipating the next move you're going to make. But your goal should be to use your moves to get an advantage on the defense and to ultimately help your team win. And that's what this video is about, building great handles and using them to win games. Good luck with better ball handling.